WCW Wrestling Champion, the founder of Champion of Choices. Here is author and inspirational speaker, Marc Mero.
My name is Marc Mero. Welcome to my Choices presentation. I got to say, I'm really excited about being here. It's been an incredible journey, and it's all about choices. And guys, today I'm going to share with you where my good choices took me, while being very honest where those bad choices took me. And I'm going to do that by sharing my story with you. Now, my story is a story of tragedy and triumph, defeat and victory. But it's a message of inspiration, hope, believing in your dreams, pursuing your passion in life, treating others with respect, but most importantly, never giving up. And to share my story, I want to start in a place in my life I think some of you students may already be able to relate to. Now, unfortunately, it's when I had my first setback. My parents got divorced. I grew up in one of the worst drug and gang-infested neighborhoods in New York. In fact, this is the apartment I grew up in right here. But it's also my life started changing. And guys, this is part of the story I really want you to hear. That was my bedroom right there in the middle. And I've always been a dreamer. Man, I dreamt of a better life for myself and my family. And I started doing something real different at 10 years old. I started writing down my dreams and goals. Now, in my bedroom, I had this broken down desk and this little book I wrote my dreams and goals in. Now, guys, most of the things I wrote down as a kid, they were materialistic. I mean, we were poor, we had no money. So I wrote things down like my first car, I wrote down, I want to get a fancy black Cadillac. I want a speedboat. I love sports. So I wrote down, I'm going to be a professional athlete. Not only that, I wrote down, I'm going to win Rookie of the Year. My first year in pro sports, I'm winning Rookie of the Year. I wrote it into existence. I hated living like this. My mom's room was this room right here on the end. And my parents got divorced. It was so hard on my mother. Not only did she have a broken heart from that divorce, but my mom fell into a really deep depression. She worked 2 jobs trying to support us kids. She'd come home late from her second job, and my bedroom would be next to my mom's. I would sometimes hear my mother cry herself to sleep. Man, it used to break my heart. One night I heard my mom crying. I got out of my bed. I walked over that little broken down desk, and I wrote in my book, I want to get my mom a house. I want to be rich. I want to be famous. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be somebody. See, many times we're young, we believe that money and fame is the key to happiness. How what the world teaches us. And the media portray all these rich and famous people being so happy. The more money, the happier you are. Success is the key to happiness. But the truth is, and I'm living proof, happiness is the key to success. And happiness is a choice we all have the ability to make. See, when you realize it's not so much about your circumstance or situation, we all go through hard times. It's how you respond to it. And guys, I'll be totally honest. Much of my life, I've had a horrible response to adverse situations. When things didn't go my way, oh boy, I had a foul mouth and a bad temper. But I got so sick of always having to go back to people and say, hey, I'm sorry for talking that way. I'm sorry for acting that way. So I had to make a change in my life. And this is where the story begins. Now here is the actual book. I wrote my dreams and goals into existence when I was 10 years old. I still have it today. In fact, this little book has traveled all over the world with me. It's a book of a little boy's dreams that would eventually come true. Why? Because I wrote it down. But more importantly, it's about the action you take towards your dreams and goals. Man, as I look around this gym, there's so much talent sitting here. Do you realize that each and every one of you guys have got a gift that's just ready to be opened? But it's up to you to pursue that gift. It's up to you to go after your dreams and goals. Don't become complacent in life. Don't let one day become the next and settle for the status quo and say those were the days. No, these are the days. These are the days you make a decision. You say, I want to go after my dream. I want to go after my goal. And maybe some of you don't even know what you want to do yet. And that's okay. You're young, but I challenge you to go to think about what you want to do. Think about what inspires you. What challenges you. I told you guys I want to be a professional athlete. I wrote it down at 10 years old. I became very successful in sports. I became the first team all-star in football, a first team all-star in hockey, played junior hockey. But I found my true passion in boxing. After I set the penalty record in hockey. But I found my true passion in boxing. I became a 4-time New York State boxing champion. I won the New York State Golden Gloves year after year, gold medal in the Empire State Games. So to continue my journey with DFC, let me take you back to when I was a boxer. Those two words changed my life. I believe. Hey, let me do something, guys. Let me just hear this one. Just say it. I believe. Come on.
I believe.
Come on now. If you feel it, believe it. Come on. I believe.
I believe.
I am feeling the energy there. This is really good. So I eventually make my way to the USA boxing team. I moved from New York to Colorado Springs, Colorado. I trained at the U.S. Olympic Training Center. While I was with the U.S. boxing team, I realized I was one of the best fighters in the whole country. So I decided to turn professional in boxing. All the dreams and goals I wrote down in my little book are about to come true because I'll become very, very wealthy. I'm gonna get that fancy black Cadillac. I'm getting that speedboat. I'm getting my mother a house. I'm building myself a big house. All my dreams and goals I wrote down as a 10-year-old boy are about to come true. So I fly home from Colorado back to New York. I turned professional in boxing. Guys, I had my first professional boxing match scheduled in my hometown in New York. I have never trained harder for anything in my entire life. Every morning I got up before sunrise and run my 6 or 8 miles. I did more wind sprints, man. I sparred, I hit the heavy bag. I did everything necessary to become a champion. 2 weeks before my first professional boxing match, I had my nose shattered in an accident. I needed reconstructive surgery. The doctor said it'd be almost a year before I could come back and start having full contact. My mom was with me as they're wheeling me down the hall for my surgery. My mother's walking along, holding my hand. She said, Mark, don't worry. You're going to come back in 1 year. You're going to be champ of the world. You see, the greatest gift my mother ever gave me, other than her unconditional love, she believed in me. She empowered me to believe in myself. The surgery went great, and after the surgery was over with, it was the first time in my life I could ever remember, I had all this free time on my hands. I couldn't train, so I wasn't getting ready for a hockey game, football game, boxing match. And sometimes when you have a lot of free time, you're also presented with a lot of choices. And guys, I started making some really bad ones. I mean, life-changing bad choices. The first thing I did wrong, and students, please don't miss this. And I started hanging out with the wrong kids. And those so-called friends, they were going to parties, and the parties they're drinking, getting high, doing drugs, and what do? Follow right along with them, but don't worry. I'm coming back in 1 year. I'm going to be champ of the world. Next thing you know, I'm at the party with my buddies. I'd walk in, they'd all see me, they go, oh, hey, Mero, what's up, brother? Hey, man, have a beer. Oh, you gotta try this. Oh, come on, man, just smoke it. You're young. You only live once. Enjoy your life. Next thing you know, I'm drunk and high with my buddies. Walk around the party going, hey, guys, I'm coming back in 1 year. I'm gonna be champ of the world. I do this week after week, month after month. I'm coming back in 1 year. 1 year turned into 2 years. 2 years turned into 4 years. 4 years turned to 10 years of my life of drug addiction. And the only job I could get with my limited high school education was in construction as a laborer. This is one of my jobs. Digging swimming pools. Guys, I remember being at the bottom of those pools and just thinking, how did I get here? How did I throw away 10 years of my life? I wanted a black Cadillac. I wanted a speedboat. I wanted to get my mother a house. I wanted to be rich. I wanted to be famous. I wanted to be somebody. I threw it all away because of who I chose to surround myself with. We become who we surround ourselves with. Your friends, they're like elevators. They either take you up or they take you down. They're going to take you up or they're going to take you down. You show me your friends, I'll show you your future. How do I know this? Was simple. I hung with friends that just wanted to party, they cared less about their future. They were so disrespectful to their own parents, to teachers. They bullied and abused other students. And I was the biggest disappointment of them all because I gave up everything I dreamt about because of who I chose to surround myself with. The saddest part about drug and alcohol abuse, the people you hurt the most, people that love you the most. My friends would drive me home at 2, 3, 4 in the morning. We'd be drunk and high in the car laughing. We'd pull up in front of my house in New York and they'd say, Mark, your lights are on. I go, yep, my mother's up. See, my mother wouldn't go to bed until she knew her son was still alive. My mom would sit in this old chair in the living room. The only way I get to my bedroom, I had to walk by my mother sitting in that old chair. I hated those walks. I'd come in the house and she'd say, oh, hi, Mark. How was your night? It's good. I'm going to bed. She said, Mark, can I please talk to you for a minute? I go, Mom, I'm tired of going to bed. She goes, Mark, I haven't seen you all day and all night. Can I please talk to you? I said, man, why don't you just leave me alone? You know, you bug me, and I'd slam my bedroom door on the one person who actually believed in me. I have a little brother. My little brother's name is Guy Christopher. Now, Guy Christopher is 13 years younger than me, but he tells anybody who listens, when I grow up, I want to be like my big brother, Mark. See, my brother also wants to be a professional athlete. This kid, all-star baseball player. I mean, his dream is to make it to the major leagues one day. When he was younger, he wears a little baseball uniform everywhere. I don't know if he thought the Pro Scouts were the Burger King, but he wore it everywhere. And he'd come on and say, hey, Mark, can you pitch me something? I go, man, I got time for that. He'd take the ball and like just toss it at me when I catch it. I go, what? He said, you want to play catch? I said, no, what's wrong with you? And he looked at me, I knew they were my friends, and he looked at me and go, can I hang out with you guys? I go, guys, watch this. Get out of here, you little punk. I take his ball and throw it as far as I could. My brother wouldn't even talk back. He just ran away after that ball. When he got far enough away, he'd always stop. And he'd just look back. And it was the look as if to say, I just want to hang out with my brother. Get out of here. I have a little sister. My little sister's name is Andrea. Now, Andrea's much younger than me, but she used to do this thing that I couldn't stand. I think some of the faculty members might remember this, okay? She used to say, I'm sitting next to Mark, I call it. Remember the old I call it days? So whenever you called it, you had to do it, you know? So if you went to, let's say, a restaurant or a movie or something, she's like, I'm sitting next to my brother, I call it. She drove me crazy with this stuff. I mean, she see the open chair, here she comes. Are you kidding me? Andrea, You are not sitting next to me. Get out of here. You're such a loser. Guys, I can't tell you how many times I watched my little sister. Her eyes would well up in tears, and she'd try not to blink. She didn't want me to see her cry. That's how I treated my own family. You know what's so ironic about sharing this with you guys today? It's somewhat embarrassing. Now that I travel all over the world, I've been a youth advocate working with students for the last 19 years of my life. I've never found more joy or more purpose in my own life than being right here, hopefully helping someone out there today. But I realized something so important. We all have an impact on each other's life. Whether it's positive or negative, we have an impact on each other. So my question to you, DFC, how are you being treated? You know, better yet, how do you treat other students? You know, every day I receive hundreds of letters from all the presentations we do around the country and around the world. And most of the letters we get are beautiful, honest presentations inspired someone or changed their life or even saved their life. And it's so cool because so many kids that wrote their dreams and goals into existence 5, 10, 15 years ago are now playing pro sports, record deal, influencer on social media, all because they saw this presentation that changed their life that day. But I also get letters from students that are going through isolation, loneliness, depression, anxiety, being bullied or abused, self-harming, burning, cutting themselves, and guys, worst case, students that feel like they don't even want to be here anymore. I gotta tell you, those letters break my heart. But I spend night after night in my hotel rooms, hour after hour, and I write back students that are going through adversity because I want you to know you are not alone, and my God, you matter so much. The reason why I'm so passionate about this, the reason why I started this program, the reason why I'm going to spend the rest of my life helping as many students as I possibly can. I was one of those kids. I was bullied so badly as a little boy. My mother, she couldn't afford clothes for us to go to school. She bought all our clothes at garage sales. We had no money. She spent pennies, nickels, and dimes on pants, shoes, shirts, and sneakers. Nothing ever fit properly. And it was so embarrassing to go to school. And I remember sitting in class, and this student comes over and stands up in front of everybody and says, "Hey, Mero, you got that shirt in our garage sale, man. You're a bum." And everybody started laughing. But worse than that, that became my name at that school. Bum, that's all everybody knew me as. I had no friends. I'd walk down in between classes, I hear kids yelling, "Hey, bum, what garage sale you getting those sneakers at?" I've never been so embarrassed, so hurt, so broken, so alone, so misunderstood. That you just let it disappear? That's how I felt. I would sit in that class and I couldn't wait for the last bell of the day to ring, because I was always the first one out the school doors. And I would just run home. Ran home to a safe place. Nobody could get a hold of me, nobody could bother me. And when I opened the door, I had this little dog back then. Her name was Gigi, and she started spinning and jumping at me and licking my face, because to the dog, I was a bum. I was everything, and to me, that dog was everything. I ran home to a safe place. See, let me do something with you guys. Let's fast forward now to 2025, where there's many of you that don't have a safe place. And what I mean by that, see, you all grew up with social media. You grew up with the internet. We never had that. When we went home, nobody could bother us, nobody could get a hold of us, no one could text us, no one could DM us. There's probably some of you sitting right here that's read horrible lies that other students or other people have written about you. That just break your heart. Bring you into depression or anxiety. You're ugly, you're stupid, you're worthless. You should die. Are you kidding me? See, you never know what another student is going through in life. We all go through adversity. Maybe their parents are going through a divorce. Maybe they They have a broken heart because they just had to put down the family pet. Maybe there's been a death in their family. Maybe they have a medical issue that you know nothing about. Words can kill. I see it firsthand. I never told anybody about what I went through as a kid. I became very successful in sports, but I had this rage inside of me, this anger I lived with, this depression that I couldn't control. Anger issues that got worse and worse as I got older. And then I become an adult. And I have these anger issues and this depression that I can't understand because I couldn't tell anybody about it. I was so embarrassed. The depression got worse. I get married and divorced. Married and divorced. Married and divorced. Brokenness, heartache, depression, anxiety. Where it got to the point my depression got so bad I just wanted to end it all. If it wasn't for me finally opening up and talking to someone, I would not be standing in front of you today. Guys, I know this part of the presentation is not for everybody. But if there's even just one student that is sitting here that has suffered from depression, that you understand when I'm talking about how bad it can get, please know you're not alone. And I'm actually begging you to talk to someone. Don't go through all those years of life like I did, holding inside. Talk to someone. Open up. Talk to a counselor. Talk to a therapist. Talk to your parents. Talk to a trusted adult. But please talk to someone. Thank you guys for being so respectful. I really appreciate it. Do me a favor. Give yourselves a round of applause. You guys I moved out of my house when I was 18 years old. I remember leaving that place thinking, I don't need them. I'm going out being rich and famous. Next thing you know, I start getting these phone calls from my little sister, Andrea. You guys remember her? I'm sitting next to Marc. I call it. It's just call my phone. It's like a voicemail. And she leaves me the longest messages. Marc, I miss you so much. I wish you'd come by and see everybody. Dad told me to tell you he misses you too. Hey, Marc. I'm getting ready to graduate from high school. I can't wait to see you at the graduation. It's going to be so much fun. Everybody's going to be there. I miss you. I love you. Blah, blah, blah. I never even went to my little sister's high school graduation. I was told later on that she was looking around for me, and when she realized that I was going to show up, it broke her heart. Then I got a letter through the mail. I remember going away to the post office, and it said, Marc, I miss you so much. I wish you'd come by and see everybody. I'm getting ready to leave for college. I was really hoping to see you before I left. I miss you. I love you. Blah, blah, blah. I never had time. My sister Andrea went on to graduate from Syracuse University. She got her degree in electrical engineering. She's always been so smart. So after college, she applies for her first job. It was a company called General Electric in New York. And she wanted this job so bad, she just sit by her phone, open and call. And I remember I had to swing by the house to pick something up. And she heard the door open. And when she saw it was me, she said, Marc? She comes running at me, gives me this big bear hug, and she buries her head on my chest and she wouldn't let go. And when she looked up, tears were streaming down her cheeks. And she said, I miss you so much. She goes, I'm so glad you're here. And then she pushed me, she goes, guess what? I got the job. She was so excited to share the news with me. She had to get a routine physical for her health insurance at General Electric. It was at that physical they found my sister Andrea. She had cancer. She went through radiation and chemotherapy. I mean, she lost all her hair, but she never lost her will to live. She never complained. We visited the hospital, and she's always worried about us. She goes, are you guys okay? My sister Andrea fought so bravely. I was sitting at her hospital bed that fateful day when she died. What I would do to sit next to my little sister today. Oh my gosh, what I would do. I call it choices. Guys, we're defined by our choices. The choices we make today can affect us and our families the rest of our lives. You know, I have an older sister also. My older sister's name is Jody. Now, Jody is an animal lover. She owns a non-kill shelter in New York. And when I say non-kill shelter, they don't put the animals down, they keep them. She's got 20 monkeys, she got horses, cats, dogs, but she gets all the animals that nobody wants. Maybe a dog that got hit by a car that I couldn't afford to send to the vet, she takes them in. Cats that are born blind, she takes them in. But I want to share one special dog. I think it's going to inspire everybody in this gym. His name is Dexter. Dexter had a tough life, but Dexter never gave up. It reminds me a lot of you that are sitting here. Maybe your life isn't perfect, but you'll never give up. This is Dexter.
In life, we all know it's not how many times you get knocked down that counts, but how many times you get back up. CBS's Steve Hartman goes on the road with an inspiring story of perseverance from man's best friend.
A lot of dogs think they're human, but Dexter takes it to a whole nother level, to the point where I can now safely say, I have seen everything. Dexter lives here in Ouray, Colorado, where for the past few years, this bicolor, bipedal Brittany Spaniel has been turning heads wherever he goes. Dexter's owner, Kenty Passick, says this isn't a trick she taught. It's an adaptation he made after a near-death experience.
When Dexter was a puppy, he escaped his yard, darted into traffic, and got hit by a car. He lost one front leg and the other was badly damaged. So everyone assumed, to get around, he would need some kind of adaptive equipment.
And he did use a wheelchair for a while, until one day when Kenty set the pooch at the foot of her porch without the wheelchair.
And I ran in to go get my cup of coffee, came out, and he was right here where he is right now. And I was like, how is this going on?
How did you figure it out?
I put him back down there and I grabbed my phone to see what was going on.
Here is the video she recorded.
And I was like, oh, we're into something totally different.
You never know where life's gonna take you.
You never know.
In the 6 years since, Dexter has become a full-blown celebrity, starring in parades and building a legion of social media followers who now come here from across the country, just hoping for a glimpse of Ouray's most upstanding citizen.
Oh, I'm on Instagram. Look good.
The whole thing takes absurdity to new heights. But to many, Dexter is no joke. In this pile of mail he receives monthly
Comes in droves.
are hundreds of letters of heartfelt gratitude.
I'm recovering from intensive radiation treatments for breast cancer, and you certainly bring joy to my day.
Where humans see obstacles,
I mean, just
often dogs beg to differ.
Dexter shows us, why aren't you out there writing the book you want to write? Why aren't you out there doing the things you want to do? Because he has. Off he goes.
And in doing so has proven that sometimes getting knocked down is the only way to see how tall you stand. Steve Hartman, on the road in Ouray, Colorado.
Hey guys, give it up for Dexter. Now, at this point in my life back then, I was now 30 years old. Years and years of drug addiction, working paycheck to paycheck in the construction industry. You guys, I'll be honest, I was dealing drugs to support my addiction. I had a bunch of friends over my apartment, and one of my buddies, he had remote control for the television, so he started flipping to the TV channels, and all of a sudden, he lands on professional wrestling. I go, whoa, 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 stop it there, let me see this. As I'm looking at the television, I get this overwhelming feeling, you know, some people call it the aha moment. I go, guys, I can do that. My buddies, we're still my buddies today, they busted out laughing. I go, Marc, are you crazy? Look at the size of those guys. They're gonna pick you up over their head and throw you right at that grave. I mean, I'm telling you, I can do that. My buddy goes, Mark, you're 30 years old. We need to start a pro career now. And guys, I said those two words, I just never want you to forget. I believe. See, you have no idea the power you give yourself when you believe in you. Because guys, there's a lot of negative people out there, and I'm gonna be really honest with you. Sometimes their friends or even family members will tell you why they can't do something. You're never gonna go to college. You'll never be an influencer. You'll never write a book. You'll never be a pro athlete. You'll never make it. Let me tell you something. The reason why people tell you you can't do it is because they can't do it. Don't you ever give up on your dreams and goals. How many times do we have to see someone successful on social media that's doing something great before we go out there and make our own? They're no different than you. They just went after their dreams and goals. You're either going to build your own dreams or you're going to work for someone to build theirs. How bad do you want it? I challenge you to write your dreams and goals into existence. But here's the key, this would change my life. Once you write your dreams and goals down, put it somewhere where you have to see it. My little book was opened up my desk, I see it every day. The more you see your dreams and goals, the more likely you are to take action towards them and be accountable. Write yours into existence. 1 year later, at 31 years old, I was voted pro wrestling. First of all, I signed the biggest contract in wrestling, and not only that, I wrote about it when I was 10 years old. I was voted Pro Wrestling Illustrated Rookie of the Year. Dreams come true, you gotta believe. So now, all of a sudden, I got all this money. I have lots of money. And when you get lots of money, what do? You start buying stuff. So the first thing I did when I got my signing bonus, I bought my mother a house in Sarasota, Florida. I paid cash for it. And then I started buying all the other things I wrote down in my little book. I went out and bought one of the speedboats. And then I built my first house in Marietta, Georgia. And if you see what's parked in the driveway, oh yeah, it's my fancy black Cadillac. So now I'm rich, I'm famous. I'm hanging out with movie stars and celebrities. I'm having dinner with the President of the United States. Muhammad Ali's coming to watch me wrestle. I'm hanging out with Kid Rock. I'm touring with Gene Simmons and Kiss. Shaq's my buddy. I'm wrestling with Hulk Hogan. I got my action figures. Actually, I got 12 of them. But then I become a millionaire. And I've always wanted to live on the water. So I got a bigger house on the water. I got everything. The world said, Mark, you made it. You're rich. You're famous. Oh my gosh, I saw you on TV. You were so lucky. But then money, fame, and I resort to my old ways. And the first thing I did wrong, again, was the people I chose to hang out with. Alcohol and drugs comes back with a vengeance, not just that. Now prescription medication and pills. The only difference in my life, I now have all the money to buy anything I want. And my world starts spinning out of control. Alcohol, drugs, pills, addiction, bad choices, hanging out with the wrong people. But I always thought when I was a little boy, if I was only rich and famous, I'd be happy. I've never been so empty and so unhappy in my entire life. I was judging everything on material things. I thought maybe if I get another house with a tennis court and basketball court, lots of land, and now we got horses. So I'm now got myself another house. I got a house on the water. I got a house in the country. I got everything. The world will say, Mark, you made it, but my world's spinning out of control faster and faster. Alcohol, drugs, pills, addiction, bad choices, hanging out with wrong people. I got this beautiful home. I have everything the world will say, you made it. But because of my bad choices, I lost it all. That's right, I lost everything. My ex-wife of 10 years, she walked out the door and divorced me, and I don't blame her. Then I lost over 30 friends. Most of my friends died from their bad choices. My friends, they were all rich and famous. In fact, the rest of every guy that's on this list, one of them was murdered, a couple died from suicide, but most of my friends, they died from drug overdose. My name, Marc Mero, should have been on this list. Guys, I did everything they did. And some nights I did a whole lot more. I have overdosed on drugs on 3 occasions where I should have been dead. But I believe with all my heart I was kept here for a reason. I believe there may be someone in this gym today who need to hear this story. Sometimes when you think your life can't get any worse and you're making bad choices, oh, it will. Mine did. I was on a worldwide tour. I was wrestling overseas in Japan. After my wrestling match, I was there in my hotel room, I fell asleep. There was this knock at my door at 3 o'clock in the morning that became like a banging. So I get out of bed and I go up to the hotel door, you know, those little safety windows you could look through. And I'm looking through and I see it was a Japanese promoter, you know, someone that I knew. So I opened the door and he said, "Mark, you need to call home, there's an emergency." I run back in the room, I get on the hotel room phone, I call back to the United States. I said, "Hey, what's going on?" He said, "Mark, I don't know how to tell you." He said, "Just tell me what happened." All of a sudden she started crying hysterically. I kept saying to her over and over, "Just tell me." She said, "I don't know how to." I said, "Just say it." And finally she said, "Mark, your mother died." I just dropped the phone. I ran out of the hotel room and took the elevator to the lobby. I'll never forget the elevator door opening. And I just remember running through the lobby, out the door, into the street. I mean, there was no cars, there was no people. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. And I walked down the middle of the street in Hiroshima, Japan. And I remember looking up and just saying, "Mom, I'm so sorry." I flew only for her funeral, but I couldn't walk up to her casket. I just couldn't do it. And so many people came out to say goodbye to my mom. The line was so long, so they started having groups of people going up to her casket and saying goodbye. And all I could do was look from a distance. But I kept thinking to myself, "Mom, please wake up. Please get up." And then the last person prayed over my mom and they got up and walked away. I got the nerve to walk up to her. As I got closer, I could see my mom for the first time. She looked so beautiful. She was dressed in white. She looked like an angel. I said, "Mom, you are my hero. Everything I am, everything I hope to be was because of you. You loved me so much, you gave me a life. You worked 2 jobs. You're the only one that ever believed in me." How to repair? By getting drunk, by getting high, by getting stupid, by hanging out with friends who just want to party and care less. For what? All she ever wanted to do was talk to me. I wish I could talk to you now, Mom. I wish you could see what I'm doing. Why couldn't I have been a better son? Choices. We are defined by our choices. The choices we make today can affect us and our families the rest of our lives. You guys remember my little brother, guy, Christopher? When I grow up, I want to be like my big brother, Marc. "Hey, Marc, can you pitch me something?" I said, "I don't have time for that." You want to play catch?" I said, "No." Can I hang out with you guys?" Get out of here. My brother grew up okay. He grew up so much better than me. He married his longtime girlfriend, Gina. And I'll never forget them coming over my house with his big smile. And brother goes, "Hey, Marc, I'm watching for the first snow. Gina and we're going to have a baby." I said, "I'm going to be an uncle." I said, "Uncle Marc." We were so excited. My brother got this really good job, and everybody's new employment, they had to be drug screened. In other words, they had to get a blood test taken for drug screening. Now, my brother, Guy, Christopher, has been deathly afraid of blood. You guys might know someone like this. For example, if my brother ever saw somebody bleeding a lot, he'd go, "Okay," he would sit down and we'd laugh about it. You know, like no big deal. But unbeknownst to us, as an adult, he had this anxiety, this phobia. And he was sitting in the waiting room of the doctor's office, and the nurse comes in and calls his name. He gets out of his chair, he starts following the nurse, and all of a sudden he stops. He said, "Nurse, I'm just getting really dizzy." She goes, "Oh, okay, sit back down." But before she could come and grab him, my little brother, he just passed out and fell over backwards. He hit his head on the floor in the doctor's office. I just got back on tour because my mom died 2 weeks before this. And I just got on tour again, and I get this phone call, and he said, "Mark, your brother Guy Christopher had a falling accident at the doctor's office. He's at the Sarasota hospital." Now my first reaction, I'm thinking to myself, how bad can you get hurt in a doctor's office? So I said to her, "What did he do, break his arm?" And she didn't answer. So this long pause. She said, "Mark, can you get here as soon as possible?" What? So I asked for permission to get off the tour again, and of course they allowed me. I flew to Florida and traveled to Sarasota Hospital. And I remember taking the elevator to the ICU, run down the hall, and I opened the door to walk in. I could see these machines keeping my brother alive. I said, "No." I asked everybody in the room to please leave. I just want to be alone with my brother. In the room was my other brother, Joel, my sister Jody, and Ellen's animal rescue, and his wife Gina. She was pregnant with their baby. They all were all around his bed just praying for a miracle. And I just said, "I just want to be alone with him for a few minutes. Can you guys all leave?" They all left the room, and I went over to my brother's hospital bed, and he looked so handsome, looked like he was just sleeping. For the first time in a long time, I got down on my knees. I grabbed his hand. I said, "I don't ask you for much, but we need a miracle. He's only 21. He's going to be a daddy. You just took my mom. Please don't take him." And just then, the door opens. It's the doctor with my family. They're walking in. You see this look on the doctor's face. It's a look you never forget. He just says, "I'm sorry. There's no brain activity." I don't know, there's going to be a miracle. There's nothing more we can do. We had to make the decision as a family to let our brother go. It was the hardest thing I've ever done or ever will have to do to see my little brother die. But there was a miracle. We donated his heart, his lungs, all his organs. The doctor told us that it may have saved the lives of 4 or 5 people that are on transplant list that may not have lived long enough if it wasn't for the gifts of my little brother. It was a miracle, it just wasn't our miracle. 1 month after my little brother died, his precious baby, my little niece follicle, was born. She never got to see her daddy. But Oliver's all grown up now, and she spends the summers with us. We go to the lake house and take her on the boat, and we have such a great time together. She's such a talented person. She's a singer-songwriter now. Her dad would be so proud. Guys, if I could just go back in time, if I could just grab that ball, just one more time. Why couldn't I have been a better brother? Choices. See, I lost my friends. I lost most of my family. But most of them died from bad choices. My friends, most died from drug overdose. For what? You guys, you know there's a drug war around now called fentanyl. I mean, more parents have lost their son or daughter to a drug overdose. They don't want to die, they just want to party with their friends. But it's getting mixed in with everything. You don't know what you're buying or getting involved in. Listen, I'm not here to preach to you guys. I lived this life. I'm just one of the lucky ones that made it through. My mother and father died from their bad choices. My mom and dad died from cigarette smoking. My mom died from a massive stroke after years of smoking. She was only 58. And my dad, my best friend, he died from lung cancer. He died while I was holding him. My mom was looking right at me. You should still be here. if you guys have a brother or sister, maybe you can text them or call them, just tell them how cool they are, tell them how beautiful they are. If you have a mother or father, grandparents or guardian, let them know how much you love them. That was the last picture I ever took of my mom before I left to go to Japan. She said, "Hey Mark, before you go, can I take a picture with the belt?" "Sure, Mom." We gotta think of your last picture. You were the real champ. And if your parents smoke cigarettes or they're involved in drugs, tell them how much you need them. I don't have that choice anymore. Maybe you do. Maybe you can bring hope to another student that's been hopeless. Maybe you can be a light in another student's darkness. Maybe you can make all the difference in somebody's life if you just go forward. Help them. See, my whole life was about being rich and famous. That's all I cared about. I had to be rich, I had to be famous, I had to be a millionaire, I had to win the race. I had to win the race at the expense of my marriage, my family, my friends, for what? To be all alone in the world? That's not how it's supposed to be. Life is not about winning the race. As I prepare to close, I want to share one more short video that I think is going to inspire every person in this room. It's about a man that was going to win the race. Now, to share this video, I got to take you back to the Olympics. At that time, one of the fastest runners in the world was a man named Derek Redmond. Derek Redmond was going to win the gold medal. Derek Redmond was going to win the race. But in the end, it's how Derek finished the race is forever remembered. Enjoy, be inspired, and I'll close out the presentation once the video ends. Thank you. Life is not about winning the race. Life, it's about finishing the race. And how many people we can all help finish this race. How we can start being kinder to each other. How we can help students that are suffering from depression, anxiety, being bullied or abused. How we can we start spending more time with our families and people that truly matter. Guys, I want to close, and I just want to share a couple of things I've learned, and then I'll let you go, and I hope to stick around and talk to you some of you before you leave. I've learned that every day you should reach out and make another student feel special. Big smile, a high five, a warm hug, a kind word. And if they don't have a smile, give them yours. I've learned that regardless of what you're going through in your life, we all go through some hard times, guys. You heard my story. Please don't hold it inside. Don't make the mistake I made, holding something inside. Your current trial is going to be your future testimony. But please talk to someone. Talk to a trusted fellow. I've learned that regardless of the relationship you may have with your parents right now, when they're gone from your life, oh gosh, you're missing so much. Repair broken relationships. Reach out to an old friend or family member. You guys were once so close. You probably did everything together. And you have this falling out for some reason or another. You know, one thing I learned as I get older, man, sometimes it doesn't matter who's right or wrong. We all make mistakes. And we all need forgiveness. Be careful who you let fall out of your life. And finally, I've learned that people are going to forget what you said. They're going to forget what you did. But they will never, ever forget how you make them feel. DFC, go out and make somebody feel special. I'm Marc Mero. Thank you guys for having me today. I want to remember you guys as well on social media. That's my social media platforms. You can always direct message me if you'd like. I'd love to hear from you, and I'll do my best to get back to you. And I just wrote a book. It was an Amazon bestseller last month called Bad to Good. If you enjoyed this story, I go a lot deeper in this book. But that was my story. But I'd love to hear from you guys. But I want to thank everyone for bringing the people that are responsible for bringing me here. Daryl, especially, thank you, man. Hanging out with you the last couple of days and last Sunday. Get over there, man.